Welcome to the Logic in Life Coaching Podcast, episode 13.
Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Zalanis, and I'm joined by none other than Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi. We're so excited to have him back on the show. Dr. Jacob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's such a privilege to be here, Chuck.
Wonderful. And we feel like it is our privilege as well to ask you these questions. So, the question of the day, I actually was looking for different questions where I could stump you. And so I've been asking different people these questions. So this comes from my chiropractor. And he wanted to ask, at what point does automation and artificial intelligence become detrimental to society as a whole?
Wow, that's an interesting question. So my response to everyone on this is that automation can never be detrimental to society, never. Because automation, what it does is it simply makes things more efficient. That's it. Automation makes things more efficient. And more efficiency can never be detrimental to society. Now, there's another word that people usually use. A lot of times when people are talking about technology, automation, improvements, they use the word better and make society better. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it makes society better. I'm just saying it never detriments society. It's neither better or worse. It's just different. And that's the big thing with automation, is that automation changes things. It makes society different as a whole. And when people talk about detrimental things, well, it depends on what you think is a good society. Right? If you think a good society is where no one has to work, and like programming is like the major role in major like occupation, then automation is amazing. Like if you're a robot repairman, then yeah, automation is the best thing in the world.
Have you ever seen the movie WALL-E?
Oh, I have.
Okay, so that sort of society is, you're saying those type of people would like a robot society, the people that just want to be in the space station, eat as much sugar and whatever, and then they just sleep all day.
Yeah, I think they would, I think they would really enjoy it. But if you're a person who you are like someone who is maybe like you make cars for a living, you're one of those assembly line people in a manufacturing plant, then automation is the worst thing in the world for you because your job's being eliminated, right? And so it just depends on who you are, it's better or worse for you. But overall, as a whole for society, automation only helps things. Automation only uses less resources. Automation only allows for more time on your hand to do things and develop things. And so, when you talk about detriment, I guess we have to figure out, what do you mean by detriment?
Okay. Well, I would figure that detriment means that people in general would deteriorate as far as the thinking people, as far as improving their livelihoods. I would think a detriment to society would mean the general well-being of people goes down as a result of automation.
And so that, I can only see well-being going up with automation, right? But there is a group of people that from what you're saying, is detrimented by automation? I would think the people who are more detrimented by automation are the people who are less educated, people who have less self-control, less discipline, people who are at the beginning of their life that are trying to gain, learn, understand, and improve themselves. I think having all this automation is the most detrimental to that group of people.
Okay.
The reason being is the more automation you have, the more self-control you need, right? The more, like, for example, since we automated information, meaning that anyone has access to any amount of information in the palm of their hand, you no longer have to walk to a library, go look for it, right? All of that's automated now for you. You just turn your phone on. You don't have to do any of those steps. It's all automated, right? That, for a young student to have access to everything at the palm of their hand, is, I think, very difficult and detrimental to them sometimes, unless they're a very disciplined student, unless someone is helping them with it, unless they have controls on it.
Why do you think it's detrimental?
Because when you are trying to focus your life, when you're trying to gain self-worth, when you're trying to focus on certain things that you enjoy, and you don't have a lot of self-control, and you have like endless supplies of what's that? Peel and Keel or something, YouTube videos. Have you seen that?
Oh, Key and Peele, yeah.
Key and Peel, and you got like 500 videos of them on your cell phone. I mean, yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to concentrate. To gain that self-discipline to go do something of value, right?
What if they want to be an expert in Key and Peele videos?
Then it would not be detrimental for them. But it's not just Key and Peele videos on there. It's like you got like Conan O'Brien, you got video games, you got like Among Us video games now. Have you seen the Among Us app?
You know, my brother-in-laws want me to start playing it with them.
Oh yeah, that seems a huge. Lots of students playing that video game now, and it's a good one. But to get off of it, to focus, I mean, it's really hard. Right? And so nowadays, that type of automation it's detrimental to certain students, right? Some students have enough self-control to do their homework, play the games, watch the YouTube videos, and be productive in their life. It only benefits those kids, right? But for the students who don't have that ability, it's a little detrimental to them.
Yeah. I can imagine that. I've seen a lot of different people that have gone about, and they are really smart individuals, but they spend all their time playing video games. And it just makes it so it's really challenging. I know your brothers were kind of in that group for a while. Yeah.
You got it. And the automation of board games into video games, where you don't have to, do a lot of steps, and now it's all online. It's very entertaining for you. I mean, but my brothers' automation actually helped because they had enough self-discipline and control, understanding, that after wasting maybe 3 years of their life in junior high school and first years of high school, they figured it out and they stopped playing video games. They had the self-control to stop, to learn, to get their life in order. And now, they're the best out of all of us, my youngest brothers. But there's many kids who never learned that. And they had difficult times with getting careers and moving on with their life.
Well, why do you think it's difficult for certain people not to move on? Do you think it's because they're trying to escape something, or is it that
it could be a lot of reasons, and I just sum it down to, some people, they just don't have that capability. People have different levels of capability, and some people, they just don't, right? And so I know that you wanted something out of me here. You wanted hints. So I'm
Yeah.
going to give your chiropractor some hints when dealing with
Okay.
automation.
Okay.
Okay? Because the only reason you're wondering if it's detrimental is then if it is detrimental, then how are you going to overcome this thing? So I got some. First one, for those people who are listening, if you're dealing with automation in any way, the first thing you got to know is just because something is automated doesn't mean that it's something that you need in your life. Okay, just because something's automated doesn't mean it's something that you exactly need in your life. I'll give you some examples here. On a big scale, society level, and then on a personal scale. Society level, just because we have like automation for farm equipment, you can get these big farm equipment, they can automate all of the farming process and whatnot. Just because you automate it doesn't mean that every company should use it. There are many people who could benefit from doing the manual labor of farming. There are many people out of work right now that if they learned how to do the manual labor of farming, it would benefit them and society. They'd be able to grow something, they'd be able to have a job, right? Yeah, it takes more work and effort. Yeah, it's less efficient, but at least they're doing something productive than sitting around doing nothing, right? And so there's a lot of jobs in society that just because you can automate it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing at that time to automate it. Now, on a personal level,
maybe on a business scale, I mean, I would kind of like hesitate to accept that because like
because
most
you're
businesses
about what?
Profit.
About money. But if your sole purpose is not money, then there are many good reasons why you shouldn't automate certain jobs.
Okay.
Right? It gives somebody something to do. It helps people develop themselves. So just because you can automate a job doesn't mean every company needs to do it. Say you're a nonprofit. Say you're a nonprofit trying to help people be able to restart their life and figure things out, right? Well, going out on a farm and doing some farm work for a day, that could really help a lot of kids. It could help a lot of adults, right?
Just so they know that they can produce something of value, or?
Well, one, when people do something that produces something of value, it increases their self-esteem. It increases all the neurons or electrons or whatever it is in your brain to make you feel good about yourself. Two, you're actually producing something. They're actually growing something. Yeah, it might not be as efficiently as with a machine, but they're still doing something of value. And three, it gets them out. It gets them into the fresh air. It gets them actually learning how to do something, learning about something. So if they wanted to go and automate in the future, if they want to start their own farm, they could, right? And they could automate a lot of things in it. But I see that within a lot of nonprofits. You know, a lot of nonprofits, they're trying to help people, and they can't afford some of the automation. But that's a good thing. It allows someone to be able to do that role, develop themselves, and to be able to add value as well. So there's a lot of things that can be automated. And for some companies, it's great to be automated because they're just looking for the money and the profit. But there's a lot of good reasons why you shouldn't automate it. And take things in your life. There's certain things in your life that, yeah, you could technically automate. Like, for example, maybe with your cell phone, you can automate a lot of different type of things in your life. And maybe with automation, you can text. You no longer have to call people. But I know that sometimes it's better to call people, even though you can just text them the same thing, get an answer. Sometimes people like to hear a voice, right? Just because you can text or email doesn't necessarily mean that you should use it all the time. There are many reasons in many businesses even that when you call people, they like it more than if you just send them a text saying, hey, how are you doing? Is my service good through an email, right? People love it when you actually go to their automation. Could be just video calling, right? Instead of visiting someone, right? A lot of times people like you to come physically in person to visit than use the automation of just like video calling them or calling them by phone or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there are some instances where people would like less automation, and that would probably be beneficial for them. Okay.
But it's just depends on who you are. Like, I don't use an alarm clock to wake myself up. I mean, waking yourself up has been automated through alarm clocks, but I don't need it, and I don't sleep in. And sometimes, like, if you do rely on an alarm clock and then you forget to set it or whatnot, yeah, sometimes automation, yeah, in that way, it's not as useful as you think. So all I'm saying is just because you can automate something doesn't necessarily mean that you should.
Okay.
Next one. The importance of knowing your destiny. When you're dealing with automation, you have to remember that you govern your own destiny. This is a real important thing because a lot of people worry about automation. They worry about how people are collecting information on you now that everything's being automated. They worry about how automation is going to take their job. They worry about how, because of automation, maybe there's not enough jobs available. And they worry about their future. Important thing for everyone to realize, you govern your own destiny. If you work hard, if you follow the correct principles and natural laws of life, you will always be successful. Right? Automation doesn't like change that type of thing. Okay. Very good. The third is the importance of change. Because we're in the age of automation, we have to continually change, right? Those people who don't change, their jobs will become obsolete. Those people who don't change, they won't develop themselves so that they can be successful. So regardless of if there's automation or not, change is always important. But with automation, change becomes even more important nowadays. And now, the last one is, in dealing with automation, mentor. Find a mentor. When you have someone who understands, who can mentor you through this automation and what automation you should have, that's the best kind of guide you can have to dealing with automation, is having someone who understands it, is smart, and can do it. And that's it. Those are my 4 points for dealing with automation.
Okay. So, and with that mentor part, it's just someone that understands how to use it and can coach you on what you should do when using it.
You got it.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your answer on automation, and we hope our listeners enjoyed listening and our viewers enjoyed watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. It would be great if you could take a moment to write us a review. For any questions, comments, or topics that you would like to have addressed on the show, email the team at leadaz.org. To learn more about the Leadership Society of Arizona, visit us at leadaz.org.